Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we, of course, are brothers on tennis. And look who we got. We finally got our pairing. We finally got our boys back on the show. Our fellas from At The Net. Fellas, it's been long overdue. Bryce, we've been waiting. You know, we're repping them. They're repping us. What you got to say, Bryce?
Look, I think you nailed it when you said long overdue. You know, we've said we were going to do this quarterly, but then life happens and we're all over the place and we're traveling. But we do stay in contact, and our listeners have been asking for us to get back together. So what you asked for, you shall receive. We have Craig Bell and AJ Chabria with us today. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Big thanks for having us, and cheers not just to you guys who we love, but also the BOT fam. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. Craig, how are you over there, sir?
You know, I'm just kind of quiet, just taking it all in. I just can't believe we're here. It's November the 20th of 2023. I was asking AJ when our last collaboration was. I can't remember the last one, but I was certainly looking forward to tonight. I know that we had talked about it for a couple of days. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We were going to talk about that. And finally, good things, finally come to, fruition for us. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing where we're going to go, because I have no idea where we're going to go. I can be Uncle CB if you need me to. So,
Uncle CB.
So, I mean, about 2023 this year. Both the men's and the women's tour. The crazy thing is that some things were strangely familiar in 2023, and some things were completely new to us. But all in all, I was entertained. I thought it was a great year. AJ, your thoughts?
Oh man, I'm going to take off on what you said. Strangely familiar was Novak Djokovic winning 3 slams and the year-end #1 and the ATP Finals in Torino. That was unbelievable, and Herculean effort from that guy. And the things that took me by surprise, and obviously I'm super tuned in to see how this unfolds in 2024. But things like Coco Gauff not just getting to the finals in singles and doubles of a slam, but going deep in doubles in everything and winning a slam. That was glorious. The other thing I felt took me by surprise was Nick Kyrgios being a mild-mannered reporter on the Tennis Channel at the end of the year. That guy, that's the first time I've ever seen him talk normally and sit up straight and smile a lot. That was awesome. So I do think Chris Eubanks is the better broadcaster, but it was definitely entertaining to see that kind of commentary. So those are the surprises for me. And the other thing, I think the other not surprising thing was Iga Swiatek winning a slam. And the surprises were people like Marketa Vondrousova winning a slam, that's Wimbledon, and Sabalenka not just winning a slam, but getting to the finals of another one. So there were some nice surprises. I like how Bryce kind of set that up, surprises and predictable stuff.
So Isaac, kind of your spin on those same topics.
We talk. I feel like we talk a lot about the ATP, and I want to make sure that I just kind of give some shine on that WTA side. A lot of what you were saying. I mean, first and foremost, again, Sabalenka, I want to give her flowers. The fact that she came out in 2023 with a new mindset, a new attitude, jumped in there. I got the Australian Open, took that over, and was like, "Yo, this is going to be my year." And honestly, it really was her year. I mean, she really had a really fantastic 2023. So I want to make sure we give some shine to her. Yeah, it didn't end the way that she wanted it to, because of course Iga did what Iga does, which is open up the bakery and say, "Come on in, girls, I got snacks." So basically, Iga did her thing. I think that, like you said, AJ, Vondrousova, winning Wimbledon was definitely a surprise. I mean, where did that one come from? But again, these things happen on the WTA tour. I feel bad for Ons Jabeur, because Ons is always one of the favorites. And it was heartbreaking to see her lose that, because that's what happened. She lost to that. Because if you look at who she had to beat to get to that final, incredible. She got there, and either the tank was low or she got nervous or a combination, but unfortunately she didn't raise the title. So I feel for her. So I want to give her, of course, a big shout out. And like you said, AJ, Coco is just on my mind. Coco is I'm just so proud of that young lady, and the fact that she was able to lift the U.S. Open Grand Slam title. They had footage of her as a young girl, bouncing around, and the fact that she was able to get to the point where she won it is just absolutely incredible. But like I said, at the end of the day, Iga is who Iga is, and she came back around and was like, I may have slipped a little bit during this year, but I'm gonna bring it back around, and I'm still gonna let y'all know I am the queen bee. So with that, Craig, let's throw it over to you. What about your thoughts on 2020?
I was thinking, as you all were talking there, that's ATP and the WTA, they're in good hands. I think even though Joker was kind of the big winner in 2023, there were a lot of new names that came up just recently, like a center that just played really well, got to the finals, did not perform very well because Joker, that dude, I thought he was going to be gone. But, the guy is just he's like a cat. He has 9 lives. Also on the women's side, 4 first-time winners in the Grand Slam. So I think the ladies are pretty healthy, from that standpoint. And you've got couple other people that are kind of close, a couple of other ladies that are around. Also, doubles-wise, we got to shout out to our buddy from Texas A&M. That would be Austin Krajicek, ending up number 1 in the world. That's really great to see AK and his partner Ivan Dodic, number 1 in the world. Just kind of a team that was thrown together at the last minute. And then if you look at the ladies doubles also too, it wasn't just one-sided. It was won by several different players at the Grand Slam. So I think tennis is in a really good way right now. Even though pickleball says that they're better than tennis, according to fake news. On the internet, tennis. There's a lot of great things that are going on in the world of tennis. The great game is still great. It's all over the world right now. There's play over in Italy. There's play in Mexico. There's play in it's back in China again now. Saudi Arabia, Australia, United States. The great game is still great. So I just think that the depth is really good. Joker's still on a different plane than everybody else. Alcaraz isn't too far behind, but there are some really big names that are in the works that are coming up, ready to take over. For 2024, I think the women's game is pretty much an open book right there for anybody to take it if they want to. Iga is good, and she won a couple of big events, but there's some other people that are right on her heels also too for 2024. So that's my take.
Right. Well, I want to kind of expound on something you were just talking about, and that's the doubles. And I want to talk specifically about the women's doubles. Part of this, Isaac and I have kind of talked about. I want to talk about 2 teams in particular. Now, Krejcikova and Sayakova have been running things over the last couple of years. But they just recently announced that they're not going to be playing together next year, which was really interesting to me considering it's an Olympic year, right? So that was an odd thing for me. So in addition to that, Isaac has brought up a couple of times, with the success that Coco and Pegula have seen in singles, are we going to see them competing as much in doubles as we have in the past? Because, does that start to take a toll on some of the singles results? I'm curious on your guys' thoughts.
I'll weigh in first. I think you see more of the, hey, let's do more singles, let's split up, let's not play as much dubs because slams have 3 out of 5 and things like this. I feel like it helps their doubles, and I always am charged by how positively they both speak about their doubles. Granted, it's not their first thing, like Siniakova and Krejcikova. It was kind of their big deal until Krejcikova started winning, getting to the semis and finals and actually winning 1 Roland Garros, right? In men's tennis, I think there's that wall, and in women's tennis, I think it does nothing but help. I'm not saying that doubles is why Coco got so good. I'm sure her own personal resolve. I'm sure a little bit of Pere Riba, a little bit of Brad Gilbert. I know Pere is not on the team anymore, but I'm sure it was various factors. But I just can't help but think that the returning and the serving and the better forehand return and the going to the net volley skills from doubles helped her. And I feel that way about Jessie Pegula, who went up, I don't know how many percent you guys would say, but she increased her level toward the end there. And maybe it's her perspective, maybe it's her fearlessness, maybe it's that she kept the, I'm going to use a strange expression, but that Andy Murray defense, she kept that going while adding a little bit of the, Jessie Pegula playing doubles offense into her singles. And I remember thinking of her as, oh God, everybody loves her. Pegula's awesome, but she doesn't really have any weapons and she's not that spectacular. She just doesn't miss and she understands how to win. Well, she's more than that now. And maybe it was the doubles. I don't know. Whatever it is, I just feel like there's a little more synergy in top women's doubles and top women's singles compared to men's singles and dubs. That's my take.
Isaac.
Oh, I thought you were going to go
Okay.
to Craig. I'm sorry.
I was just waiting to see where they're going.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, and I've said this on shows, IG recordings, what have you. I think that for Coco and for Jess, and AJ, I agree with everything that you just said. I think their game has improved because of the doubles. But I do feel like at a certain point, if you are going to be really, truly focused on getting Grand Slam championships, you are going to have to really kind of narrow your focus and hit singles. And I use Sabalenka as the example of that in recent years. Sabalenka played doubles with Elise Mertens, and they got to number one in the world. They did big things. And then Big Sab was like, you know what? While this is all good, the end result is trying to get number one and get more Grand Slams and get singles Grand Slams. And so she had to let that partnership go in order to focus in on her singles journey. And look what it produced in 2023.
That was large.
Specifically, I think that Coco and Jess should continue to play doubles through 2024. And I say that only because it is an Olympic year. I do feel like they should go work and get that gold. If you can get it, go get it. But at that point, at the end of 2024, honestly, I don't want to see them playing together anymore. I want to see both of them focusing in on their singles, because to me, that is what you get your true visibility and shine for, is those singles Grand Slams. And I just believe that is, in my opinion, that is definitely Coco's, that is her path. That is her journey.
Love
Greg?
it.
Yep. Well, I sitting here looking up some you all got me thinking here for a second. And there's only 9 people in the world who have ever been ranked number 1 in singles and doubles. And so, it's really difficult to win singles and then, bounce back and then also play doubles, because usually, doubles is played at an hour that's not known for playing or doing anything. It's usually for sleeping. And so it's usually well into the night. And those folks who play singles want to get a little rest. And so it's a very small group of individuals who've ever been ranked number 1 in the world in both singles and doubles. The money is too big in singles right now. I'd like it to have gone back and be like it was maybe 40 years ago, when the money wasn't quite as, it was more evenly distributed maybe, and that's why they played singles and doubles. I think it definitely improves one's game, because, AJ and I are both fans of doubles and singles. McEnroe didn't like to practice, and he was always known for playing doubles, because he said that was where he practiced most of his tennis was on the doubles court. But I think the game is evolved too far along to where it's the prize money is just ridiculous on the singles side. I've advocated for several years now. Those who would listen, which is basically one, that's me. There should be a doubles and a mixed doubles tour, and they should separate and be their own people, and hopefully then meet up at the slams, and then go back into their doubles and mixed doubles tour. And that way they'd get better known, and they would be able to maybe have some recognition, get some prize money, because it's just they're playing at 2 a.m. or whenever that they can get a court. They're on the back courts basically also too, that nobody ever really pays attention to. So unfortunately, some excellent players that are not being showcased. And there for a while, I couldn't tell you who was number 1 in the world in both in doubles or mixed doubles. It was now I'm a little bit more interested in what's going on, but still there for a while, we could tell you who the top 10 are, and you probably couldn't name 8 of them, maybe 2 of them you might recognize. But I think so those days are gone. But it's great to see people making money. There's no question we want people to make money in the game, but at the same time, doubles and mixed doubles, they're just kind of relegated to the back courts and just kind of in total and complete anonymity, and it's not right for them. But I don't know if it'll ever change, but I think that they should go on their own and have their own tours. And then at the slams or the big ones, the ATP, 1000s or the big WTA events, maybe come back together. But then if they want to get any recognition, they're going to have to separate, as opposed to if they stay together with the singles people aren't going to let them, get, the visibility and the nice times at 2:00 in the afternoon. So they're going to be playing at 2 in the morning. So, when most people are asleep. So but that's just my thought.
Okay. So let me turn it over to AJ. What's on your mind from 2023?
Oh, on my mind, for me, it's kind of fun to talk about. I don't really care too much about whether that celebration was good or not. I'm talking about Ben Shelton and Novak, the friction, but I just enjoy that kind of tennis. And I know we all love Casper Ruud, who's just a great guy, but it's so exciting to watch Ben Shelton, even though his ranking is not quite Casper Ruud's yet. For me, I'd like to see more Ben Sheltons. I'd like to see more attacking, beautiful tennis like Yannick was starting to bring at the end of the year. Actually, even Novak Djokovic, who honestly, I have got this bias because back in 2011, 12, 13, when he was starting to beat up on Rafa and Roger with that unbelievable lockdown mode and defensive tennis. And he was actually weirdly better at tie breaks than Roger Federer. I was not used to that, right? And here he is taking every lesson he can take from every win or loss to Roger, Rafa, or anybody. And he's serving better. His second serve stands out for me. And I used to think of him as no better than Andy Murray on the second serve. His drop shots, his serve volley, the acrobatics that, again, he'll never beat Pete Sampras, but I just see a little bit of his love for Pete, his love for Roger. And he always said that, but I never believed it. And now you watch him play tennis and you're like, all right, it's a different guy and he's added something. And that's what you got to do to win that many slams after the age of 30, 32, 34. Dude is 36 and he just added 3 to his tally, plus the I guess the 7th year end. So it's just, as much as I'm not as much of a fan of his as I am of Rafa and Roger, that's got to be a highlight for me, and I got to mention it. And back to the beautiful tennis. Who else was playing beautiful tennis? Stands out for me is Muchova lost in a U.S. Open semi and a French Roland Garros final. That girl is playing some beautiful tennis, and I want to see more of that. I realize she's not, in the top 3 or 4 in the rankings, but hopefully she's going to be. And then, can we get a little negative here? I was very, very hot on the way Caroline Garcia played at the end of last year, about a year ago right now, something like 54 weeks ago. Craig and I and a bunch of our friends saw a lot of tennis, good, attractive serve volley and serve and approach and angled volley style tennis from Caroline Garcia. Won the WTA finals in Fort Worth last year. And what happened to her this year? I mean, she looks fit, but she's not. She's getting the ball in, but then she's not winning matches. So that's on the negative side for me. Those are my highlights, Bryce.
Sounds good. Isaac, your highlights.
I love that. First, I want to kind of piggyback on a lot of what AJ said, and I agree with that. I'll go backwards. So the Caroline Garcia, I think you are spot on with that. And what the difference is it's that high risk tennis that she plays. If you don't have the utmost confidence, that little dip will cost you tons of matches. She was on her game last year. And like I said, I'm a Caroline Garcia fan. So I was really excited when I saw her playing at that top level. But it's that little bit of confidence. If your confidence gets shaken just that much and you have that type of a game style, your game can plummet. And that's, to me, what has happened with Caroline Garcia is she's lost a little bit of the confidence and it has made a massive effect on her results, unfortunately. What I will also say, and like I like you and like all of us, well, I can't speak for Craig, but I know how Bryce feels. Novak Djokovic, hey, may not be the favorite, but I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. You got to give Novak Djokovic his flowers because that fool showed out in 2023. He showed out. And the way that, to me, he rebounded in this tournament after Sinner jumped up on him and was like, all right, I got you. We in Italy. I'm about to show this crowd. I'm this new thing. Boom, boom. Novak Djokovic was like, okay. That's cool. You know, you do you. I'm just here playing my tennis. And I'm going to tell you what, and we can talk about this. They talked about Sinner had the opportunity to not let Djokovic, and it's the same scenario that happened years back with Simona Halep and Serena Williams, because Simona had the ability to knock Serena out of the WTA finals. She didn't do it, and guess what? Serena got up in there and whipped them girls, and she ended up winning. And that's exactly what Djokovic does. You don't give GOATs second chances. And mind you, I respect Sinner, and I would not have done anything differently. You got to go out there, you got to play your game, win the match. You know, you do what you have to do. So I get that, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'd been like, "Yo, Holger, you know, I'm gonna hit a couple of shots a little wide here. Ain't nobody gonna know, and we're gonna let you slide up in the finals." But I'll leave that alone. Other highlights, man. I'm just proud of Big Banks. Big Banks. I can't really say enough about Chris Eubanks. Just so proud of him in that summer run that he had. Like I said, the fact that he started out in Indian Wells in Miami, and again, and we talked about this on the show. We were like, just skip the clay, because you've got your mind in a good space. Don't go on the clay, take all these losses, and then you're just going to be all skip it. Go use that as a practice window and get ready for grass, which we know is your surface. He did exactly that, and he showed out. And I just am so, so happy and proud of Chris Eubanks. To me, I can't say enough about that young man.
And he's a great broadcaster.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is. Craig, your highlights.
Okay, so I've got kind of broken down into a couple different categories. There's a famous movie called The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and that was back in the 60s. So I like movie references right there. My good is Ben Shelton and Coco Gauff. I mean, props to those two players right there. What a breakout career. Those two, Ben's currently number 17 in the world, Coco number 3 in the world. I mean, you can't ask for, and they're trending up right there. I would say that those two have a really good 2024 ahead of them. The bad, I would say FAA. What happened to FAA? Where'd that guy go? I mean, that's, did he lose his mojo? As Austin Powers said, he lost his mojo, then also he lost something, so I don't know what. And then, you've got Ons Jabeur. What happened to her? I mean, she kind of lost the mojo there for a while also too. It seemed like, she was going really well. And then all of a sudden just kind of hit the skids all of a sudden. I like her personally. I mean, I like FAA personally too. And then the ugly, what happened to Sebi Korda? Where's that gone? I mean, that has gone down the toilet. I think you got to flush that one down there. Then along with Sonia Sophia Kenin, whichever her name is right there, former, Grand Slam champion. I know she's probably injured, but do you all see her, coming back, as far as her tennis game? I just haven't seen much of her, around. And, I always kind of question Elena Ostapenko also too, not only for her tennis, but her wardrobe choices as well. That is just, I don't know who dresses her, maybe Garanimals or maybe, something. I'm just kind of always wondering. That's an Uncle CB quote right there. Sorry about that, guys. So Uncle CB just showed up on the Brothers at the Net. Sorry about that. But, I just always wonder about that outfit. It's just like, sorry.
That is awesome. Well,
Right,
you know what? You guys hit most of, my highlights. The one thing that I would add is I would say 2023 was a year for the OGs coming back. We had great performances from Gael Monfils showing up, acting like he wants to beat somebody. His wife came back like she came back better than when she left.
Yeah.
She's another one of those players that really didn't have any weapons. She was fast. She could run down a lot of balls. I guess Gael got with her on that forehand, and now she has a weapon on that forehand.
Love
and a
it.
lot of other ladies on the tour don't like it. So that was great. And although we only got a small sampling of it, I am very interested in seeing what Wozniacki is going to do in 2024 because she was very fit. She stepped back out on the court like she hadn't been gone for very long. So I just want to shout out to the OGs, welcome back. And I think they're going to make their presence known on the tour in 2024.
That's a fantastic point. While we're talking about Svitolina, I know some people used to call her Speedolina. She's so quick. And like you said, not a lot of weapons, added the forehand, comes back from having a child, and she's just as fast as she was when she was in her 20s. Will Naomi Osaka come back just as fast as she was before she had a child?
Exactly. And the thing that I love about what I'm hearing about Osaka are several things. Number one, we all saw the picture, her with Andre and Steffi and Brad Gilbert. So we know those are the right people to be with. We know her coach who left, who was it, Queenie, on the side of the court to go back to Osaka. So she's getting her coach back. I like the fact that she said she's going to play a lot.
Yeah, that was huge.
She truly understands that probably the first couple of months, she's going to take care, right? It's going to take her a minute, and we've been telling our followers, don't expect the first match, the first tournament that Osaka comes to, that she's going to be in the semifinals. It's a big difference between practicing and playing those matches. But I do think she'll catch her stride by mid-season, and it will be interesting to see how she puts herself in the mix of things.
Absolutely agree. I think it's the summer hard court is when we really will see true Naomi Osaka tennis. I think that she will use Australia, the Sunshine Double. All of that is going to be her, okay, let me get back into things. Let me find my rhythm. Let me see where I'm at. Let me see where I'm at after I've had a child. I honestly feel like she should do what we talked about with Chris Eubanks. She needs to take the play and the grass season, take it off, and use that as a practice block. Because at that point, you've played 3 months. You know what your positives are. You know where your gaps are. Use that window of time instead of messing with your mind, because we know that those two are not her surfaces. Use that as a training block. Go and enjoy having, be with the baby and enjoy family time and practice. Work on those things. So that way, when you come back on the summer hard court, which we know is your favorite surface, you can get out there and you can do something, and you can actually contend at the U.S. Open. That would be my I would throw that at Naomi and say this is something you should consider.
Did you all see also too? I'm looking online also too. The R&D department for At The Net, Bruthas At The Net, September 15, 2023, 3-time Grand Slam winner. Alongside fellow tennis star Pat Rafter, Ash Barty on Friday helped Queensland Tourism and Sports Minister Sterling Hincliffe announce the return of the Brisbane International in 2024, and might be a possibility she might be returning to the court. Did you all see that?
I can't believe it. I haven't seen that. I still can't believe it.
Either, yeah.
Yes. Right. Yep. It said.
I see this as a one-off, as a show up and play. I don't see it as a commitment like Naomi has made, but God, it's just so awesome to see that girl play, Ashley Barty.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that would be interesting for her if she were to come back and really play. That would be a really interesting tour at that point. You've got, she's another one that I just don't. I think she got tired, a couple of years ago traveling when COVID was around, and she had to stay out of Australia for 8 or 9 months, and then that kind of took a toll on her. And then she, wanted to have a kid, and we want to have a life, but then at the same time, she's like, tennis is, I think I can do this, and so that would be really interesting to throw her in the mix as well if she were to come back and start hitting balls and seeing that textured sliced backhand that AJ talks about all the time. That texture, he likes texture, and I think she could provide a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth up there for several people at the top. So I'm interested to see if this is a possibility. So
it's so
along
funny
with
you say
Osaka.
that. When you said wailing and gnashing of teeth, it made me think of, the world was kind of robbed of the Iga Barty rivalry.
Right.
I'd be curious to see how Barty Slice would do against Coco and, basically the dominant players of this day. Coco, Sabalenka, Rybakina, people like that. Ons Jabeur has clearly learned something from her. It's maybe not always effective against big hitters like Iga, relentless movers like Iga. But the person who uses a little bit of that texture, who has had great success against Iga, is Barbara Krejcikova, who you could feel like she's probably channeling some of that texture and the softball and then the boom, the two-hander, but also the one-handed slice. There's a little bit of Barty in there. So, who knows if we'll see an actual big name or big tournament matchup between the two. But CB, I'm glad you did that research.
Yeah.
Well done there.
I'm just sitting here looking. I just thought that it'd be interesting to see. I know she's written a book. It says also too she's doing a lot of things. I mean, tennis people actually have some other things that go on. I mean, I like all the ventures that Serena and Venus are into. I think that's really interesting to see. Not only have they prepared on court, they've prepared off court as well, and hopefully a lot of other famous tennis players. Roger's done the same thing. I think he's transitioning into the off court world, fairly well. Probably Rafa has. I don't know about the others, but you certainly see Serena and Venus. They do a lot of things off court that are going to keep them in the public's eye for a long time. So they do have the money to do it now. So which is great. Like I said, and that's why singles is the definite moneymaker of the three doubles and mixed doubles possibilities. So, but I'd like to see Ash come back and see what she can do. Because that gal, she can run like the wind and has that beautiful backhand like Steffi Graf that used to hit that. Didn't really hit over it all the time, but man, she could do some damage with that textured slice backhand that AJ talks about all the time.
Love it.
Well, speaking of people that have been away from the court, a storyline for 2023 were the number of people that got caught for having 5 on it.
I put a 5 on
it. We had Simona Halep, we had Mikael Emer, who actually ended up retiring. We've recently had what's up with the whole doping or at least suspension for suspected doping in the tennis world?
It's not as clean as we thought, is it? The game?
No, unfortunately not.
We just didn't know about it. We were drinking. They were drinking water. So that's just straight water.
I do believe that some of it can be political, if I'm being honest with you. I do think that because we've heard stories of where, certain people kind of are quote unquote targeted. Others kind of get a lot of passes. Like you're supposed to take your test on, this many times, this many, on this frequency. And we've heard, that there have been, other more popular people and or players who are not held to that same level of strictness. So, without not having a lot of data in it, there is definitely a little bit of sketch around it.
Yeah.
But what do you do? I mean, if you are the target, then you just have to make sure that you are being extremely disciplined about what you intake and keep yourself extremely clean. I mean, that's just at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into the match fixing because there are 4 or 5 people busted for that. And I'm talking about that when I say the sport isn't as clean as we thought it was. But I want to ask you guys, because you guys have had real conversations with Patrick Mouratoglou. Mouratoglou defended her and then took some responsibility for the Halep problem. What's your take on that? And is it they have to just be more careful, or they have to actually say no to their coach who wants them to take some supplements that they trust? I mean, you're paying this guy and you trust this guy. What's your take on it? And is that where Mikael Ymer fell into a trap? I don't know. I'm asking mainly.
Well, speaking of Emer and even Brooksby, they fall into this category where there are these out of tournament tests where
Tests.
and I didn't even understand how this worked before. Apparently, tennis players have to let this agency know where they're at every day of the year, whether they're in a tournament or not. And so if they're not in a tournament, and Emer and Brooksby have both claimed this to be their situations, where they have missed tests because of something where their hotel got changed.
Yeah.
That was out of their control. And so now the people go to test them. They're not at that hotel. It goes down as a miss. They're allowed to get 3 of those a year. And I think both, if I'm not mistaken, I know this is true for Emer, but maybe even for Brooksby, neither one of them contested like the first 2 that they missed. They acknowledged that they missed. But the third one, they are stating, was completely out of their control. Their room got changed by either the tournament, or Emer wasn't even playing a tournament that year, and something happened where the people went to the wrong hotel. It's that for you to be put out of the game, not to be able to play, not to be able to make any money, not to be able to get any points. I don't think you can have something as loosey-goosey as that, and then, some people say, well, you have 3 opportunities. So they missed 2, and now they put themselves at risk by being only down to 1. Yeah. But still, if you can legitimately have 3 misses a year, and back to what Isaac was saying, we've kind of heard behind the scenes that there have been other players, maybe with bigger profiles, who have missed more than 3. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't been a suspension type situation for them.
They didn't even get called out for it.
Yeah, this is what you meant by politicizing something, or a bit of favoritism is basically what I'm hearing. Speaking of things you hear, Craig and I were part of this thing called an athletic forum where John Isner, the recently retired John Isner, Davis Cup USA guy, spoke, and he was the only speaker. He was asked a bunch of great questions, one of them by Craig Bell himself, but that was kind of funny. I'll let him get to that. But the question that meant so much to me was he answered it so deeply. It was about retirement and what does he not miss and things like that. And he kind of jokingly said that, I don't miss having to tell the doping agency exactly where I am every day at 6 a.m, at 9 at night, like that. So I thought that was funny. Not that he would do these drugs, but there is some stress about, like you said, what some of these guys have to be really, really on the ball about, not just tennis and training and food and supplements, but letting them know where they are. So I thought that was odd because, John's a wonderful guy and a responsible guy, but I'm also thinking, like, you have a phone, man. Like, why hang anxiety over, like, it's easier than ever to tell authorities where you are at this moment. It's a lot easier than it was in the 80s or 90s when we were playing college tennis or trying to play a little bit of pro tennis and whatever. Like that would have been rough because there were no cell phones then. So part of me empathizes, and I get what Isner said, and I love it. But part of me is like, bro, is it really that hard?
Yeah, no, I think it's called muy estupido, as the Spanish would say. So. It's your profession. You're professionals. There's not. You're not an amateur. You got to act like anything that I'm going to be taking. I better darn know what's going into my body. And like I said, I know this is high quality H2O. Adam Sandler and the Waterboy would appreciate that. But if I'm going to be professional and put it out there by my name, you better, I want to know exactly what's going on. Yeah, like AJ said, it's like, come on. We got phones here. You can ping somebody, and you know where they are. And I mean, it's I know how to. I'm 63. I can figure out how to tell people where I am.
In my head, I just made the joke that he could have had a bot. He could have gotten Chat GPT to tell the guy, look, I'm at this hotel now. I'm not at that one. Right. Like, these kids have it all wired. Like, what? Jensen, figure it out, bro. Like, you could have done that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I did ask the question. I said, John, knowing that you're retired, I go, I'm on a USTA team and we need an extra doubles player. Would you be interested in playing next weekend? So he started laughing, and he kind of looked at me he thought that was kind of funny, So I always am there for yucks and hilarity as far as anything that I do. I'm
That's
never
so
there
funny.
for in any serious content. That's AJ. So he's the guy that gets tested all the time on in the world of podcasting. He takes all the tests for podcasters. So they don't ever
Funny.
they know that they don't worry about me. So, but
Well,
yeah, I mean,
from what I've
go ahead.
heard, he probably needs to look at your USTA 18 because the word on his
Yeah.
pickleball game. I ain't saying. I'm just saying. Word on the curve is.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a lot of touch in tennis.
He needs to go back to his day job if he's going to do that. So let's put it that way.
Like serving up here, right? Up here.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. No, we've seen some celebrity pickleball around Dallas. All of a sudden, Dallas has become the mecca of pickleball, and there's been a couple of celebrity things going on. And I'm sitting there going, "Whoo, man!" Yeah, he and Dirk played together one time. I mean, that's 2 7-footers right there.
Yeah.
It was, so that's hard to lob over those guys, but you can dink them to death, but they can't bend down. But yeah, that's they need to
Funny.
probably. I'm sure they're glad that they did not play professional pickleball, and the money is not that great either. Those folks. Just a side note here, real quick. They were so impressed about, and Brookhaven did a really nice job. We just had pickleball nationals, but they were advertising $250,000 in prize money, which is no small sum, but that's divided out amongst a lot of different categories. And it's like $250,000. I mean, that's a bad second round at the U.S. Open. I was kind of like, hey, pickleball, come on, and they had like 35,000 people. I go, that's a bad day session at the U.S. Open, 35,000. So, pickleball's got a long way to go. I mean, that's I love the enthusiasm. I love to play pickleball, and I'm a coach on both organizations. So, I mean, I play pickleball. I fully am behind the sport, but they got to temper their enthusiasm just a little bit because it's not tennis, and the great game is still going to overwhelm them for a little bit. So, yeah, 250,000. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, that's great, but that's if you can get to the second round, you're making that at the U.S. Open, So, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. Spend it wisely, as they say.
like it.
Guys, I want to ask you a question about something that I've observed in, I guess, and I'll focus it in on Carlos Alcaraz, Carlitos. He has been, lights out for the last, year and a half, 2 years here since he jumped on the scene. When you think back to that match that he played against Djokovic in Cincinnati, it seemed like he was really exhausted, really emotional. And I feel like the remainder of his year kind of reflected a lot of that. He looked like he's mentally tired, and he's still exciting. He's still, all of that. I still see double-digit slams in that kid for sure. But are you feeling as though there is some level of mental fatigue happening right now with Carlos Alcaraz?
I'd like to jump out on that one. He said it himself. He came out in an interview and he said he's only been on the professional tour for a couple of years. And what was made clear to him this year is it's not just about your body being able to last to the end of the year. Your mind's got to as well. And he said that is a place where he wasn't at yet. And he recognized that was an area of growth for him. And I love you, Isaac, you said it on one of our shows, and you were just dead on when you said, look, y'all, this guy's 20 years old. He's already been number one. He's already got 2 majors on his belt. He's going to be all right. Right? He's going to have some ups and downs probably for the next couple of years. But if this guy is able to play, let's say like a Djokovic and Roger and Rafa to his mid-30s at least, the sky is still the limit for this guy. But I think he agrees even himself that he has to improve on enduring the full year mentally to be able to perform his best. Now, I'm very interested in hearing what Rafa thinks about that, because I know Rafa plays a similar type of game. AJ, did you talk to Rafa or anything, and did he talk about his thoughts on Carlos Alcaraz?
Well, Carlos, no, he's gonna work
Yeah.
hard. No,
Yeah.
he's the best. He's like me, only younger. No, he's gonna be great. I, I actually I appreciate the Rafa reference. I just wanted to horn in that Rafa's coming back soon, and he's talking about how well he's playing. So we need to mention that on this show. Number one. Number two, when I read what Bryce just mentioned that Carlos said. If I may add, Juan Carlos Ferrero also said, look, he's got a lot to learn. I love hearing that. When Carlos messes something up, he says, look, I'm learning. Like that Roland Garros was a debacle in the, I guess it was the third set and having to stop semifinals of Roland Garros. Not too shabby. Against, Novak Djokovic. Not too shabby. So it's not the end of the world, and they know it, and they're all about growth mindset, and they don't get all depressed and triggered about stupid little stuff. And I love how resilient that kid is. So that's where I'm 100% with Isaac. The negative part of me is like, I don't want what happened to Dominic Thiem to happen to Carlos. I don't want Nico Masu, who might have tried to caution Dominic, like, don't overplay, but I love to play, but I love to play more. I don't want that to happen to Carlitos. I would love for it to be mental growth, and physically you're fine. But physically, sometimes you got to take a couple weeks off here and there and recharge this and get back on the horse and things like this. So, it pains me to see, was it Zverev who just beat him in the Nitto in the Torino? That hurt a little bit. I didn't want to see that. I wanted Carlitos to, go undefeated and get to the semis. He did get to the semis with a 2-1 record, but when he got to the semis, the Grim Reaper, the actual Novak Djokovic, the best in the world, asserted himself, and he did the same with Yannick. So, no shame in losing to that. And I have this feeling that they actually believe it in here, that there's no shame in that loss, that it's all about growth. And we aren't even 21 years old yet. Let's go. Let's have a great Australian Open. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I've got one thought here as you all were talking, and I started thinking about this. There's a mindset when you're the hunted instead of being the hunter. It's a lot different, when you're, out there hunting for something as opposed to somebody hunting you. When the bullseye's on you as opposed to you looking for the bullseye from other places, it's definitely a change in mindset. And I'm being serious on that. No, I've never been number one, but I just know that I can imagine when it shifted to him, trying to catch everybody. Now all of a sudden, everybody's trying to catch him. That's a little different mindset. And I think that's where the mental fatigue, it's not the physical. Everybody's got the physical tools out there. It's just the mental tools that of being number one. And then you look around going, oh crap, everybody's, trying to catch me now, as opposed to me trying to catch everybody. So that's just my thought on, as you all were talking, which are all great points. And I just wrote this down that hunted instead of the hunter, that's a big different mindset change. And I bet you for the first time, that was back in September of 2022 that he became number one. So it's been a full year. He's been being the hunted as opposed to for 20 years, 19 years trying to catch everybody. He did. And now all of a sudden, wait a minute. He looks around like, oh, people are after me now. It's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? So different mindset, I think.
Well, you know who else said that, which is going to be very interesting watching 2024, was Iga.
Right.
Iga said she learned a lot. She said she got drained being number one and everybody coming after her, but she said she has learned now how to appreciate that role. And hearing her say that, I'm going to go out here and make the first prediction for 2024. I think Iga is going to crown next year. I think Iga is going to win 2, if not 3, of the majors next year.
Interesting. Right here. Breaking news. Bum, ba, da, ba.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, because Isaac and I have talked about this. If Iga mentally is zoned in, her aggressive style of play just really overwhelms most of her opponents. And she can handle the players that hit hard. She can handle the players that hit with finesse. And, you hear the other players talk about they feel like they're always on the defense with her. Now, granted, she's always going to have a day off here or there. Things won't be right. But we've seen that she's pretty consistent with her game. And if you've noticed, that backhand has shored up. She's getting that serve better. And I mentioned on one of our shows who she actually is reminding me of now is kind of modern day
Steffi
Graf.
Yes.
She's doing that really short footwork and working around to that forehand. And she's just serve and forehand. And she may not have the slice that Steffi has, but, the last time we saw people handing out and having a bakery like Iga has routinely, Iga set records this year for the number of bagels that she handed out. We haven't seen those type of performances really since Steffi.
Is she going to start using the 200G again from Dunlop? Are you going to break that news here instead of Technofiber?
I don't think she'd last more than one warm-up with an old racket like that. But I got one more. If she wants
15
to use
ounces.
one, I've got one. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have one?
I've got a gray one and the new version and the of course the traditional black and green. But I've got a close friend who a woman who used to work for me. She's from Poland, and my plan is the next time Iga is on TV and there's coaching is legal, I want to sit next to my Polish friend and figure out what the psychologist and Iga are always talking about, because they talk a lot. And I want a real translation. I don't just want, sanitized subtitles at the bottom. I want to figure out what are these people talking about, because they are animated. I want to know.
They're probably using the B word, saying, let that gal over there, she's a B, Go out there and come on, beat her. Beat her. Beat that B.
Beat that B.
I'm sure.
Okay, that's
Uncle CB.
For
Uncle CB's back.
Beat that B.
I love it. But she goes out there and she plays just like that, though. She plays like she is not. She just. I love Iga's aggressiveness in her style of play. She is just. She's not out there to play around. And she said, her coach said, we don't go to these tournaments trying to make friends and get second place. We go to win. I was like, you know what? That I am not mad at that mindset.
No, I'm not mad at it. I don't like Isaac's about to hit an overhead and I'm doing this. I'm not into that at all.
I agree.
But I'm into how eager she is to get to the net and finish with a volley or a forehand. To me, she's not Mukova. She's not Caroline Garcia, but she's better because she doesn't miss and she absolutely returns. She makes any average second serve look like a piece of crap, and I love how she returns. I know Sabalenka, I know Serena are that level, but Iga seems to be taking a lot of joy in the displeasure of people getting broken twice, 3 times a set. Like Isaac would say, hoe biscuits and breadsticks for everybody.
Everybody. Just hand them out. Glorious. I tell you one person she will have an issue with, in my opinion, if she can get herself healthy and stay healthy, and you just mentioned her, that is Muhova.
I love Mukova.
She is, like I said, that's my girl right there. And if she is healthy, I believe she is the one, again, because she plays like Barty, who can bring the type of game style that is extremely uncomfortable to Iga. And she has a good enough forehand, because don't get me wrong, I feel like Coco can play that style of game as well, but Coco's forehand can't hold up. Mukova's forehand can hold up. And she, to me, will be the one that will be able to give Iga some troubles if she can stay healthy.
What a great point, Isaac, because now I'm switching into sort of technical coach mode. Her forehand is more compact and can handle the 105 miles an hour coming at her. Like Mukova can handle a men's serve, right? And Iga is going to dish some of that out, where Coco's still having a little trouble. Coco's clearly going to improve that forehand. She's got the team, she's got the mindset, and she's the person who's holding the last slam. So I'm not worried about Coco, but very good insight that Mukova's forehand will hold up. And like you said, she's like Barty. Yeah, she kind of is. but she's 4 inches taller. She's even better than Party.
Exactly.
That's so funny. Well, guys,
Yeah.
I hate to be the timekeeper here, but
Oh,
this
love
is
it.
such a good conversation. What I like to do is just take a moment to go around and get final thoughts from each person, because then we have to shoot over to the after show
Right on.
on IG Live. So, Craig, let's start it off with you.
Well, I was just sitting here looking, will Alexis Olympia play with Olivia Lee in doubles in about 18 years from now on the tour?
Wow.
So I'm going to leave that thought with you. So I was just sitting there going, I know Alexis Olympia, she's born in 2017. I believe Olivia Lee, David Lee, and Caroline Wozniacki's child is probably pretty close to similar age. Will they play doubles at some point, do you think?
Interesting.
I always what was Isaac's? I want the people who can't see to catch what that was.
That was I hope so.
I like it.
Right.
I
It's
love
crossed.
it.
I mean,
The cross.
I know they're such good friends, but will their kids? Yeah, I'm always interested to see if people who are very good athletes, excellent athletes, want their children to follow them. I've seen both ways. Some of them don't really want their kids to be athletes, and then or they want them to go somewhere in a different manner. I'm just looking forward to 2024. I'm glad to be here, being able to talk with you guys, share a forum with Brothers on Tennis and AJ, Brothers at the Net. So I'm just ecstatic to be here and to be a part of the show. So that's Uncle CB signing off.
Thank you. I'll go next. 22 years ago, I probably had a similar conversation. Joshua Rafter and Ryan Sampras and Christian Sampras and maybe Jaden Gill, Agassi. Maybe those guys play one day. And, some of them don't. Some of them play another sport. Our good friend's son is on the team where Jaden pitches, University of Southern California, not far from you guys. So sometimes these guys stay in tennis and sometimes they don't. Hopefully Miss Lee and, Serena's kid, hopefully they get together. Like Isaac said, that would be amazing. So fingers crossed too. I'll leave it to you guys. Last word, Isaac and Bryce.
2024. Well, I'm going to stick with the kid theme. And I tell you what, who you need to make sure you look out for in probably about maybe 13, 12 years is Novak Djokovic's son.
Oh,
yeah.
Stefan Djokovic is looking good.
Yes.
Because the son is always there. He's always on the courts with his dad.
Absorbing.
Just absorbing exactly the atmosphere, he plays. You've seen him hit the ball. Like I said, kid-wise, give that kid about 10 or so more years and we may see the next coming of the Djokovic story.
I'm going to take a Duolingo Serbian course because I want to hear Novak coaching Stefan. That's going to be even better than Iga's psychiatrist talking or psychologist talking to Iga.
Novak, how about Novak? Would you like to coach your son one day?
If I appreciate your asking that, Craig. If Stefan would like me to coach him, it would be my pleasure and my honor, and I will give my heart to all four corners of Stefan's tennis game.
Oh, I love it.
You are the best, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll have to stick with the kid thing, but I'm going to modify Craig's a little bit. Serena had a second daughter.
Oh.
So I am wondering if we have the second coming of Venus and Serena.
Oh,
I love it.
Look at that. Yes.
So that's the one I'm looking forward to. Richard may already be playing with them right now.
Oh my
He's got the shopping cart all ready to go.
And if I'm smart, I buy the domain name Ohanian Sisters.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, well, thank you once again, our great friends and guests at the Net Podcast, AJ, Chabria, and Craig Bell, my boy Isaac here. I hope you've had fun listening to us, chatted up about 2023. And what we promise you is that next year in 2024, you'll have more of this happening.
So, thank you. You guys are the best. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to everyone and have a safe remainder of the year.
Yep.
Signing off from Brothers on. Oh no, we're gonna say Brothers at the
The
Net.
net.
Brothers at the Net. That's
AJ,
right.
Craig, Isaac, and Bryce. Have a good one.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.